Hi guys, and welcome to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Branston Golf and Country Club. Today's video is part 4 of a 4-part series on how to break 90. Today's video is going to give you a really simple tip to improve your distance control with your putting and make sure you're not leaving yourself those horrible 4-5 footers back from racing one past the hole or maybe leaving it short. Stay tuned to find out more. As mentioned, today's video is part 4 of a 4-part series on how to break 90. So I've so far shared with you 3 simple tips, different areas of the game where I feel you can lower your scores with minimal practice time. Today what I wanted to focus on was a putting drill and mainly looking at distance control, pace of putt. This is an area when I'm playing with amateur golfers in playing lessons or in pro-ams that I see they often get wrong and leave themselves a lot of work to be done, whether it's leaving the putt short or running past too long and putting a lot of pressure on their second putts. I haven't got a lot of distance from the hole here, just to make it easier for videoing. So I've got a 10-foot putt, 15 and a 20, but obviously you can work this way back in 5-foot increments or just start further away from the hole, but the same principle applies. And what I've done here is I've just given myself a box and I've just used a few of my mid irons. So I have 2 foot past the hole and 2 foot to the side, 2 foot to the side roughly. So I've used an 8, 7 and 6 iron just to make my little box here, and the end of the grips only just come past the front of the hole. So my aim is to try and run the ball and finish into that box, so level with the hole to pass the hole but not beyond that 2 foot range. And what I'm going to be using is a putting metronome, and just a free app, something I've downloaded on my phone, where I've set it to 76 beats per minute. So the tour average is somewhere between 72 and 78. So I've set it there somewhere in the middle at 76, and that's the beat I'm going to be trying to follow. And what that means is the time taken from my first movement to my backswing through to impact is staying the same. So on a shorter putt, effectively I'm moving a little bit slower because it's a smaller motion. On a longer putt, I've actually got to move a little bit quicker. A problem I see a lot of amateur golfers do is when they're getting into longer distance putts, they're making a much longer stroke, and we end up with the elbows flaring away from the body or a lot of wrist action in there. We have to get, actually, there's only a maximum swing length we could create. So once we get beyond this, definitely up to 30, 40, 50 foot, we actually really need to be speeding up our action. So yes, it is getting a little longer, but the movement actually needs to fill the same period of time. So whether it's a 5-foot putt or a 50-foot putt, the backswing to then backswing impact, we want it to be the same. So effectively a little bit smoother, slower on the shorter putts, and we're actually moving quicker on the longer putts. Yes, the swing length is increasing, but it's not increasing to a stage where I'm really starting to lose a lot of control and get the grip end of the club moving a long way away from me. So I'm looking for the head to do most of the movement. I don't want the grip to move as far. So as I said, I'm going to be following this metronome and just seeing if I can move back from 10 foot successfully to 15 to 20. And I would keep going with this exercise and perhaps keep some scores of how many in a row do you get with inside that box. The aim of the game here isn't holding the putt. If it goes in, great, but it's the distance that I'm really looking for. I want to make it easy for my next putt. I want to have a chance of going in, but if it misses, I want it somewhere around the hole, pretty close. I find a lot of amateurs have probably too high a hope maps, maybe from 20 foot. If you look at the average of putts hold with the tour players, it's a lot lower than you'll think. So don't set your sights too high. You're not going to be holding a huge amount of putts from there, but you want to make it easier. You want to give yourself a short tap-in putt for that next one. So as I said, I'm going to move in here. I'm going to try and move my GoPro with me as well, so we can perhaps look at, do I reach back to impact at the point that the metronome ticks, and I'm just going to set the metronome going at that 76 beats a minute. The last thing to say on that is, if you have a particular putting tendency, so if you are normally coming up short, you could set that metronome quicker. So you could actually have it, instead of 76, closer to 80 or maybe even beyond to actually speed up that movement. If you are aggressive and running it too far past, you could slow that beat down. So using a metronome works really well in your practice just to start to get used to the speed of your action, of your stroke. There's something else I want you to be doing when you're looking at this, and that's not spending too long stood over the golf ball. So my time when I'm putting is reading the putt. If you use a line on the ball, maybe getting the alignment correct here. But once you're ready to go, I want it one long look at where you're going to putt to, eyes back, and pull the trigger. We don't want a lot of static time over the ball. That's another big amateur fault of why I think a lot of golfers struggle with distance control. So, as I said, I'm going to get my putting metronome going. And as I said, I've set this to 76 beats per minute. So if I just click my GoPro to record and set this ticking away. So you can have a practice stroke or two. Just getting used to that, but once we're set up, I want it more of a look and react. So if I'm ready to go, look at the hole, back. And that felt like I followed about the right period of time. We can see that the ball's finished just past the hole, slightly on the low side. Okay, I need to allow a little bit more break, but the idea with this exercise is distance control, not something else in there. So I'm going to move back, and we're just going to keep trying that. So we're just going to move back now to, we've got a 15-foot putt. They're a little bit slow. There was a lot of rain last night and they are uphill, but you've got to try this uphill, downhill, and still get used to the fact that green speeds are going to change. They're going to change depending on the course you're playing on. They're going to change compared to the conditions. But can I follow that same metronome and again finish by the hole? So I felt like I followed the metronome timing again. That one just bumped into the club. So that was going to finish just beyond 2 feet. It was probably acceptable, but I don't want to be running it much beyond that past the hole. So let me see if I can move back again. And we've now got a 20-foot putt. Same thing. Nothing's going to change. I'm still trying to follow that metronome. So it works really well, potentially just with your headphones in, so you're not putting off every other golfer on the putting green. But can I get that ball within my box? So I'm just waiting for the beat. Go on, get there. Yep. So I got that bang on level with the hole. It felt like it might come up just a roll short. It just got there. And again, I really felt like I followed my beats. I'm just going to stop that so I don't put you guys off, but you can hear that putting metronome. It works really well just to try and get that pace of putt. Make sure that actually the time taken for backswing to impact is staying the same. We're not getting longer and longer and longer and slower and slower and slower with that movement. We want it to follow the same sort of pace. We're effectively speeding up our movement because it's a slightly longer action on those longer putts, but we're following that same beat, that's 76 beats per minute. I know if you can practice with that, it's definitely going to improve your distance control, and especially doing some look and react. I know I might have stood a little longer over the ball than I was trying to there. It was trying to make sure I was matching the beats of starting my stroke at the same time for you guys to see. But once I'm ready to go, I'd really try and have one look at where I want to putt to, which isn't necessarily the hole. I try and imagine a tee peg, whether it's left, right, depending on the break. If it's uphill like this putt, I'd imagine the tee is just past the hole. I'd look at that point and then pull the trigger. We don't want a lot of static time stood over the golf ball, increasing in tension. I know if you can follow those simple tips and practice with that metronome on the putting green, or even, you know, in the living room, in the carpet, if you can try and hit some different lengths of the putts, it's definitely going to improve your distance control and help you break 90. Make sure you check out the other 3 videos from this series, and if you did enjoy the content, give us a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel for all the other content every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30. Thanks guys, we'll see you soon.